Welcome back, my friends. I am Kevin. This is Reading the Room. This is going to be an entire video on the history of House Hightower. If you didn't read my community post, this was going to be a first long night video, and as I was writing the script, I'm like, man, this sounds familiar. And then I got done with about a 20-minute script just to realize, hey, this is really familiar. And then I looked and, yep, it's familiar because I already did a long night video. I might put that in the description of this one, but we're going to do House Hightower from the beginning to where we are now. Enjoy the video. When people think of the great houses in Westeros, they think of the Starks, the Lannisters, the Targaryens. But quietly behind the scenes, one of the oldest and most powerful dynasties has shaped the realm since the dawn of history, House Hightower. From their seat in Oldtown, they have commanded trade, religion, knowledge, and politics. They've married into royal bloodlines, guided kings, and sparked one of the greatest civil wars Westeros has ever known, the Dance of the Dragons. This is the story of House Hightower, the beacon of Oldtown. The story of House Hightower actually begins before recorded history, in the Dawn Age, long before the Andals, before dragons, and even before the wall was built. At the heart of Oldtown lies Battle Isle, an ancient fortress built of strange black stone. Legends claim it was not even raised by men, but by the children of the forest, or even by mysterious seafarers from across the world. Some whisper it may be linked to the same builders of Valyria or Asshai. When the first men came to Westeros, they took Battle Isle for themselves and began building the first stone tower. Over time, this became the Great High Tower, the tallest structure in Westeros, rising higher than the wall itself. At its peak, it blazes with a great beacon fire, guiding ships safely into Oldtown's harbor and earning House Hightower its name. And Oldtown is not just the seat of House Hightower. No, it's actually the first true city in Westeros. It grew as a hub of trade, drawing merchants from Essos, the Summer Isles, and even further. Spices, silk, wine, gold, and knowledge flowed through its harbor. While other lords waged wars for land, the Hightowers grew rich, controlling the lifeblood of commerce. But Oldtown's significance wasn't just economic, it was spiritual. The Hightowers welcomed the Andals when they crossed the Narrow Sea, and with them came the Faith of the Seven. The greatest sept of the age, the Starry Sept, was built in Oldtown, becoming the center of the faith for centuries. Every High Septon sat beneath its glittering dome until the faith was moved to King's Landing. And Oldtown was also a center of learning. Here stands the Citadel, where the Order of the Maesters was founded. Every raven in Westeros, every chain around a maester's neck traces its origin back to Oldtown, all under the watch of the Hightowers. When Aegon the Conqueror came with his dragons, many cities burned and castles returned to ash, but not Oldtown. Lord Hightower, guided by his brother the High Septon, chose peace instead of defiance. He opened Oldtown's gates and bent the knee to Aegon, and in doing so, he spared the city and his house from dragonfire. This decision defined the Hightowers. Not warriors chasing glory on the battlefield, but survivors, builders, and manipulators who endure when others fall. If the Starks ruled the north with swords, the Hightowers ruled the south with marriage. They married into House Martell, binding themselves to Dorne. They married into the Tyrells, strengthening their hold over the Reach. They even tied themselves to the Targaryens, climbing into the very heart of royal power. The most famous of these unions was Alicent Hightower, daughter of Sir Otto Hightower. Alicent became the queen by marrying King Viserys I Targaryen, mothering 4 children including Aegon II Targaryen. Through her, the Hightowers brought their influence directly into the Iron Throne itself. But Alicent's marriage would spark one of the most deadly conflicts in Westeros, the Dance of the Dragons. When King Viserys I died, his chosen heir was his daughter, Rhaenyra Targaryen. But Alicent, guided by her father Otto, would not let her son be passed over. Thus began the civil war between the Greens, who supported Aegon II, and the Blacks, who supported Rhaenyra. The Hightowers threw their full support behind the Greens. Otto Hightower, as Hand of the King, was their strategist and political mind. Alicent herself rallied court and faith to her side. Her brother, Sir Gawain Hightower, fought as a knight of the Kingsguard, and the Hightower armies marched beneath their silver torch, fighting fiercely for Aegon's claim. Another Hightower, Lord Ormond Hightower commanded the Green forces in the Reach. He was slain in battle at the Honeywine, but his sacrifice cemented the Hightower's loyalty to the Targaryens. The dance tore Westeros apart. Dragons died and House Targaryen was forever weakened. But the Hightowers endured, and their influence only grew in the aftermath. In the centuries that followed, the Hightowers played their role carefully. They remained wealthy, influential, and tied to the faith. During Robert's Rebellion, they kept their banners largely in the south, avoiding the devastation that swept the realm. During the War of the Five Kings, they again stood secure, while Oldtown remained untouched. While other great houses rose and fell, the Hightowers stayed steady, their strength rooted in Oldtown's harbor, the Citadel's knowledge, and the faith of the Seven. What makes the Hightowers remarkable is not conquest, but longevity. Their tower has stood since the Dawn Age. Their city has been the heart of trade, faith, and learning for thousands of years. Their marriages have woven them into every major dynasty. And even when they chose war, as in the Dance of the Dragons, it was always with the aim of survival and influence. Today, the Hightower still rises above Oldtown, its beacon blazing across the sea. It's a symbol of continuity of wealth, and a house that's quietly guided Westeros since the very beginning. The realm may rise and fall, but the Hightowers endure. So that's House Hightower. I've gone into this in detail in a few of my videos where the last two major wars, the Hightowers were basically like, nah, I'm good. In Robert's Rebellion, basically nothing. And in the War of the Five Kings, the Hightowers basically stayed in Oldtown and did nothing. So I think in the future of Westeros, if I ever do a what if the story continued video, the Hightowers are going to have a massive role to play simply because they're in the best position. While the Lannisters lost a bunch, lost its leaders, lost its gold, the Tyrells are basically non-existent, the Baratheons took a gigantic L, the Riverlands took a gigantic L, the North lost a ton of people, Dorne is pretty much intact, and the Hightowers are pretty much intact. I know those are two different places, I'm just naming off. The Dornish and the Hightowers got off pretty easy in terms of people lost, gold spent, figures killed, yada yada, but that's it. If you guys want to see more videos on this, not on the Hightowers, but on just simply singular houses, let me know in the comments section, but that's it. Hopefully you guys had a good time. Do all that typical YouTube stuff, share, like, subscribe, and if you hated the video, if you absolutely hated it, double click it. Double click the dislike button so that I know that you extra hated the video. Alright, have a good rest of your day, guys. Peace.